Okay, so I just got the airbox assembly all taken out. So this goes like that. The velocity stacks bolt down the entire assembly to the throttle body. So now done here for the moment. So I always like to cover up my exposed throttle bodies just to keep dust and contaminants, and especially in case you drop something. You do not want to drop something in there, or you are in for the worst day possible. As part of this project here, I'm going to get rid of this entire tray because this used to have like a whole upper section that clamped on, then it had a snorkel that kind of went down through this area, which I've since got packed full of stuff. I got my unit here that stops the fast flashing for the turn signal since I went to all LEDs, and I've got my garage door opener, it's here so I could open my garage door while I'm riding. So yeah, don't have room for any of that crap anymore. Never had it when I got the bike, actually. So now what I'm going to do, since this is basically useless and just allows like a lot of heat soaked air to stay in from some of the people I've been reading where they did a lot of testing, I'm going to pretty much cut it like right up against flush with this, and obviously go around that to keep my breather hose, and then hey, there's my new gasket. I totally forgot that was there. So yeah, I'm gonna cut all that off, get rid of all this excess material, and then work on mounting the air intake temperature sensor here, like on the side of it. I'll make like a little bracket or something to like mount it like right here, because like it used to just kind of lay there in that, but then that it gets really heat soaked in the summer because there's just not a lot of air movement down there. And I saw some people that like tested a few different ways to make this thing work. Looks like it's kind of dirty too. I'm gonna have to clean that, but they tested a few different ways, to see what ways worked best, and they had it mounted something like this, like right up against the filter element. So it's like back here kind of, and it's supposed to be getting a lot more fresh air, right through here, because there's not a lot of stuff in the way here. So I'm going to do that too while I'm at it. So what I was thinking is I'm going to take a jigsaw probably and just, kind of shave off the majority of the stuff that's in my way here, and then continue to take the jigsaw, I guess, and, just keep getting closer and closer to this. I'm not going to go from the bottom because, obviously it's marked, and yeah. Why risk cutting through this and ruining this whole thing? I'm going to cut it as close as I can within reason, and then either take an angle grinder or like an orbital sander or something, even hand sand it, and just kind of get it nice and clean around the edge where I cut it. So I'm going to do that, and I'm also going to take my breather canister off because you can see there's like a lot of oil and stuff here. I'm pretty sure this thing is just soaked with oil blow by. So I'm going to take this out and clean it with some dish soap, really nice, get it nice and cleared out, and then hopefully we'll have oil all over the inside of this again. That's kind of where I'm at the moment. I really just wanted to get kind of tear into this and get everything taken out. Probably gonna call it quits for today, and then get back to it later on. One thing I did do, because I have a problem. I keep jumping around on different projects, and I see something, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try that real quick, and then I spend like 30 minutes on it. I took one of the old license plate units, and I just kind of roughly cut it off with some tin snips to roughly fit it and make some sort of a fender for myself. I gotta be careful here. This thing's crazy sharp. But basically, yeah, I had it. I'm not gonna try to do it with one hand, but I had this thing, kind of tucked underneath my fuse block there, and this wire connector. I had it kind of tucked back in there, and it actually fit pretty well as is. It needs some minor trimming still, and I kind of want to put a little bit more of a bend on that. I just roughly bent it off the edge of the bench just to, rough it in, if you will. And then I'm gonna drill some holes in it, and hopefully run some bolts through it back there, make it more of a permanent thing. But yeah, I'm gonna like sand it down. You can see this thing's freaking deadly the way it is now. So that's gonna be something else that's gonna come too, probably after I finish this up. I want to get this done first. I've had this on my mind for a while. Really wanted to do it, and I figured if the power commander's gone, that's gonna get shipped back shortly, and with the power vision coming, with a fresh tune, I'd really just like to start fresh and have, you know, a good system set up, you know, with the air intake temperature sensor and all that stuff, and not just have it like, you can see kind of like right here is about where it was, so it just kind of sat in this little zip tie that somebody put on here and just kind of hung there. But it's kind of in a low spot, not a lot of air movement, and like I said, I read people, they found issues with them getting really heat soaked in the summer, like when you're stopping at lights and stuff. So that's where I'm at today. So got a little bit of a mess to clean up still where I was doing my electrical work. Put that light on the back and clean up all my wires in the back, which I'm really glad that's done. So that shouldn't be, looked like it was getting ready to be a problem where I was actually getting ready to have that wire break and probably lose one of my turn signals, which that would have been less than ideal. So especially if I was like on a day trip or something, or, you know, longer, as is my intent this year, you know, take some longer trips. So trying to do all this little stuff and just get this thing to where all the little crap I noticed last year riding it in the summer, I kept noticing little things, but I just didn't want to take it down to fix it. Now I have all the time in the world because we got like a foot of snow on the ground. So I'm trying to get all this little stuff done, so when riding season comes back, all I'm doing is riding and not worrying about fixing anything. That's going to be my goal. We will see though. With motorcycles, it seems like there's always something. So, but I've gotten through a lot of stuff already. So, you know, as soon as the weather clears up, I'm gonna hopefully go get a new back tire put on too. Yeah. So I'm gonna call it quits for now. Took more work than I expected. My ears are kind of ringing. Probably should have put on some hearing protection, but a little too late for that. So, yeah. We've put I pretty well cut most of it off, and I've kind of tried to rough blend it using that. And it worked a lot better than expected. It's still not. I see a few more spots I could kind of touch up a little bit, but yeah, overall, that thing worked really well. Yeah, you can see I have an absolute mess on my hands. So I would have done this outside had it been, you know, middle of summer, but considering it's like 20 degrees and foot of snow, like I said, no, not doing it. So anyway, I think it turned out pretty good so far. I'm gonna take some finer grit sandpaper. I have a few more touch-ups, like I said. I want to get like down in here where this, you can kind of see there with a breather. Yeah, there's like a little piece there I need to take off. And then for the rest of it, I'm probably going to clean it up somewhat so it doesn't look like total, you know, total angle grinder hack job. And this corner here turned out like crap. You can see where it's kind of flat there. That's where the original, obviously, casting was for this. Or molding, rather. And yeah, on this corner, there was all kinds of material here. It was a really weird shape, had like a big thing that stood off, and so I just had to like little by little take it down, and it's kind of got like a weird flat spot. You can see, yeah, you can kind of see it there, a weird flat spot. But that was actually there already, so I need to probably try and blend that somewhat, because it's kind of like, you know, I could take all this off, but I really don't want to. I'd rather just kind of leave that there just for a little bit of extra support. Why not? So anyway, almost done with that. I'm gonna keep cranking on this and hopefully have it finished today. So we will see. Yeah, not bad. This is going to be the world's biggest nightmare to clean up. Like, there's freaking plastic everywhere. I got a lot of plastic, and I'm thinking about just taking like this section here that I cut off and like, you know, just running a straight cut here, getting rid of this, you know, wing here, and then I can take it this location here, this side. So what I'm thinking is, you know, take some of this excess material off and make it to where I can kind of mount this to the side like this, and then put a hole in it. That means I have to cut that plastic, and I am so over cutting plastic today. So there we go. That's kind of what I'm looking at. So well, that was fun. So I've kind of got it lightly sanded now. I think I'm good where it's at. Nobody's gonna see this except me whenever I, you know, pull the airbox cover off to work on it. So I don't need to like polish this up like it's a showpiece. So as long as it's, well, relatively smooth and you know, free of burrs and stuff like that, sharp edges, I'm good. So I took that piece of plastic here, and it's kind of oblong, but again, I'm not looking for a showpiece. I'm looking for something functional that only I'm ever gonna see. So I could have easily, you know, cut out some of this material there, but it's so thin that I decided to go ahead and use this thicker plastic because the sensor does snap into it really easily, which I've already kind of dry fitted it. So I've got this put on, and right now I just shot a couple screws in it. I do need to replace these with bolts because I don't like the idea of just screws. So I'm gonna put some bolts with some nuts on the backside. I just had to go buy some because it turns out I don't have any here that are long enough that I can, you know, find immediately. So I'm sure I've got some laying around in a can somewhere, but I'll just go buy a couple stainless ones that won't rust. So I'm gonna do that, and then yeah, that hole's there. So now I'm gonna go take this inside, wash it up, you know, give it some Dawn dishwashing soap or some kind of soap, and then come out and put it back on. And then I will call this project 99% complete, pinning bolts. Okay, well, I am back in the garage, and I had this out here drying for a while. It was, you know, I washed it in the house, got rid of all the crap that was, you know, all over it, and all the oil and stuff that was built up, and I cleaned out the, you know, these little felt filters here that, you know, sit on top of this breather assembly and go there, and then it allows it to vent oil vapors back to the engine. So that's cleaned. Gonna fit it on there and see how it fits, and then later I'm going to, like I said, replace these couple screws I just shot through just to hold this. I'm gonna replace these with actual nuts and bolts. Hoping it looks good, hoping it fits well. So I'm gonna do that now. All right, so like I said, so I have now got the modified trimmed airbox installed back on the bike. And you can see, I mean, just like all of this stuff is now visible, which it's really dirty because this breather hose is cracked, which getting them through Harley is impossible considering they have discontinued pretty much all the V-Rod parts. Even though they didn't discontinue the bike till 2017, it's kind of a really crappy move on their part, in my opinion, for the customers. But yeah, getting these hoses is just a giant nightmare to get them, and they crack like every couple of years from what I heard. And it's like all cracked through there, you can see. So there's just, it's making a mess back here. Super common problem on these. So I'm going to take that and try to figure out some way to like make my own oil resistant hose. Maybe put like a grommet in here. I still have to pop this in all the way, I haven't done that yet, but I'm gonna put a grommet there, and then put find some way to do like my own hose, you know, to get for the breather. So yeah, it's on here, and then I've got my little mount here that it holds it. It's not totally tight, but I guess it's better than what it was before, where it was just kind of hanging by a zip tie. So the cover, if I could actually line thing up. Yeah, cover goes on it like this, and then this is with it installed. So yeah, a lot more easy access to virtually everything under here. Like I can actually get to my, my ground connections now, which I never could do before. Battery's a lot easier to get to. Coil packs too. I no longer have to remove everything to get to my coil packs to check plugs or anything like that. So that's really convenient. Pretty happy with it so far. That is done. So that project all in took me like 4 hours or so, 5 hours maybe. Because I was, just out here screwing around and filming, listening to music, fumbling around with a jigsaw, which was a bad idea. A jigsaw, trying to control a jigsaw on plastic that is not like basically like a flat piece of wood. It's like trying to tame a chainsaw with a counterweight attached to the motor. It just jumps all over the place. So it didn't work like as well as I thought it would. I probably could have put like a metal blade on it. It had finer teeth, and it probably wouldn't have been just like, so jumpy and grabby, but yeah, it's okay. Made it work, and then I ended up using the angle grinder with a 4-inch wheel to pretty much do what I needed to do and make it work. So angle grinder worked really well. It just made a huge mess in here, and I had to like vent the door because it smelled like melted plastic. So don't want to breathe that stuff in. So that's why I had the fan on in my face at one point, just making sure I had not stagnant air in front of my face, and I had the door up. It was pretty cold, but yeah, pretty happy with how this turned out. So now I'm going to head inside the house, and I'm going to email DynoJet back, give them the information for my Power Commander 3, and then hopefully they're going to give me an RMA label so I can ship that back. And in a few days, they should tell me they got it, and then they're going to sell me a Power Vision at a discounted rate for what they call the customer loyalty program. So I'll be able to get the Power Vision for like $249, which is awesome. I'm pretty happy about that. So yeah, we're going to mark that off the list and call it good for today. So you might remember last time I was out here with some of my crap, I made this thing to be like bolted to the side there to hold my intake air temperature sensor, because it's just scrap plastic that I had left over from the rest of the airbox assembly, the lower tray as I call it. Well, I don't really like the way this thing looks. I know the whole time I was doing this project, I was like, I'm not really worried about how this thing looks. I don't really care, and I do. This thing, I mean, it's kind of crappy, let's be honest. It's not that great. I kind of threw it together in a hurry, just with the mindset of, I don't really care. Well, I do, so did away with that. What I ended up doing, I took out some of my black license plate material here, and I just kind of shaped a little fitting here, I put some bolts in it, put a grommet in it to hold the sensor. I mean, it's pretty solid now, and the sensor's kind of stuck between the pleats there, so did that. And let me take the cap off here and I'll show you the inside. So let's look at that now. Like magic. Okay, so what I did, I just went and got a couple of bolts at the Ace Hardware on the corner with nylon locking nuts on them. So they're not likely to back out, which is obviously a good thing. So, it'll be okay like that. The one thing you probably can see here is I split the grommet on this because I used a 1/2-inch drill bit to drill this plate out, right? When I originally did it, it was a 1/2-inch drill bit. It's the biggest damn drill bit I own that's like, meant for metal and not like a auger bit for like, pulling wires through studs and stuff, or like it's like a spade bit. And I wasn't about to just tear those up and cut through metal. So that's basically what I did. And turns out this 5/8 grommet, it's a little tight trying to get this sensor to fit in the 1/2-inch hole of the 5/8 grommet. I mean, the sensor itself, like the actual cylindrical part here, fit fine. The problem is, you might be able to kind of see in there, there's a green O-ring that allowed the sensor to, fit into its original part in the snorkel, or in the plenum. And that O-ring really gave me trouble. So I had to like really just kind of, I had a pair of vice grips, and I just kind of like, pinched it in there like that, And I mean, it works, and it's not going to go anywhere. It did split the O-ring though, and this might dry rot and fall off. Who freaking knows? It's outside of the airbox, so I don't care. It'll stay. It's not like it's going to, the green O-ring will hold it in place. I'm not worried about it. I mean, it's freaking solid. So I guess I'm okay with that. It drives me crazy because I'm trying to be better about doing things the right way. And that's half-assed, obviously. But I'm not going to go out and buy more like large drill bits just for this one little thing. Because I mean, I've used a lot of drill bits, but I've never really had to break out my 1/2 inch, especially on a motorcycle. For metal, that is. So yeah, didn't really want to just halt everything for that. I made it work. And if, of course, if it wouldn't have worked, I would have stopped and went and got a drill bit, but I made it work. So it's fine, whatever. That's pretty much the end of that. So I'm gonna officially call this complete, finally. And even though I already kind of, you know, checked it off my, my list there, we're gonna say it's for real this time. The good news, another thing in a future video, let's take a look here. Pop the seat up. You might notice, I talked about the Power Commander being Velcroed right here, in most hillbilly fashion ever. I have officially sent off my Power Commander 3 to DynoJet. So I will have a Power Vision on this bike, which means no more nonsense back here piggybacking off the ECU. That being said, that's going to happen hopefully this next week. So I really want to get this out. Problem is, you know, the roads, they suck right now. Covered in salt. Potholes are crazy. I've got a sinkhole in front of my house right now, as I call it. Giant pothole that didn't get fixed last year. Yeah, not too happy about that one. So yeah, didn't want to get the old Night Rod out here because I actually like this motorcycle. You know, I don't thrash it and beat on it like I did my Nighthawk. My Nighthawk, pff, snow on the ground, who cares? I'm riding it. I was a total addict. I mean, I'm still a motorcycle addict, but I like this bike. I like this bike a lot more than I did the Nighthawk. It's a lot nicer. So really don't want to just tear it up with salt, right? So we're supposed to be getting a little bit of rain Sunday. Hopefully that'll wash the majority of the salt off the roads. Next week, after I get the Power Vision installed, I will be good to go to get this thing back out after doing all this little crap to it that I've been doing for the last, month and a half while it's been in here on the stand, on the lift. So something I've been putting off for way too long. I got this really aggravating oil leak coming down here off the stator plug. Super common issue on these, which that's easy to do. Basically, all you have to do, take your bolts out here. You take these two out first, pull this cap out, and then take these out. So I'm gonna do that. And then when it's apart, clean this up really nice. I got this O-ring kit that just came in today. Take one of these O-rings, shove an extra O-ring or two, down there on that stator wire. Yeah, it's kind of my mission this weekend. So, mud flap, stator wire, triple sprocket. Should be able to knock out the stator wire and the triple sprocket pretty quick. I'm gonna have to let the stator wire thing. I gotta clean it off really nice and put some black RTV on it with another O-ring. I'm going hard. I don't want to open it back up to have to deal with it if it leaks again. So and then of course it's just gotta sit here and cure, for the next day or two. So that's where I'm at. Never ends. So once I get all that done, the weather should be decent. Get the Power Vision, and then slap some new rubber on the back. Because this tire, I've had too much fun with it. There's nothing left. It's getting to where you whack the throttle on it now and it just gets squirrely and sideways, which is an absolute blast, but it's not practical, not safe. So, and plus, I'd like this thing to actually hook up for once and possibly power wheelie, which would be kind of badass. I've heard they can. I don't know. This one won't. It just breaks loose all the time. So that's where I'm at. It's coming along. But that's where I'm going to end this video today. So, like I said, that's done. Super stoked about this. Not being in the freaking way now. It's all so accessible now. So much room for activities.
And so many activities.
Yeah. That's where I'm going to end it today. So, if you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I love sharing my passion with people. I love talking about it and just kind of teaching, talking through the things that I learn. I enjoy it, try to be entertaining. So any, advice, comments, whatever, I'll take any of it. I don't care. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.